no surprise to anybody who has seen Joe Biden in action over the years that he has a habit and a history of using speeches made by other politicians or prominent people. And he continues today to do the same thing. And finally, a liberal news media outlet, the New York Times, is calling him out on it. You know, it's not hyperbole. It's no joke. You know, Joe Biden. Well, the New York Times published a fact check of Biden's tall tales on Sunday, describing them as stories that either stretch the truth or are downright false, while claiming former President Trump has a stream of lies also. They always have to throw Trump in there, even though they're knocking Biden. It's probably still Trump's fault because Trump's lying too. You know, he's been a civil rights activist, then he said he wasn't. He was a truck driver. He was the first one in his family to go to college. He finished first in his law class. We know that was a lie. But this one of all really is the one that pissed me off. He goes to Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And not only did he embarrass himself again on the world stage by being on the stage while they're inviting or introducing dignitaries, he goes to sit down while everybody's standing. And then you see Dr. Jill covering her mouth, telling him, Joe, stand your old ass up.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J.
And then after that's all over, you see Jill take him by the hand and lead him away from the area while the French president continues to greet veterans. This one right here is one of the worst embellishments he's ever made. He used a speech done by Ronald Reagan on that same site at Normandy. Joe Biden used the speech. A couple of the words may have been changed, but he used it. And no one is going to say anything about it. He's full of lies. His staff insists that he use these lies because they're the ones that are putting it out there on the teleprompter for him to read. This man is a disgusting human being. He's a failing human being. And he continues to embellish and lie every step of the way. Have a look at this video with Reagan and Biden, the same speech on the same spot, of course, many, many years apart.
Last, the hour had come. Dawn, 6th of June, 1944.
At dawn on the morning of the 6th of June, 1944,
225 American Rangers arrived by ship, jumped into the waves and stormed the beach.
225 Rangers jumped off the British landing craft and ran to the bottom of these cliffs.
Gunfire rained above them, but still they kept coming. Nazi grenades thrown from above exploded against the cliffs, but still they kept coming.
The Rangers looked up and saw the enemy soldiers at the edge of the cliffs shooting down at them with machine guns and throwing grenades. And the American Rangers began to climb.
They launched their ladders, their ropes, and grappling hooks, and they began to climb.
They shot rope ladders over the face of these cliffs and began to pull themselves up.
When the Nazis cut their ladders, the Rangers used the ropes. When the Nazis cut their ropes, the Rangers used their hands.
When one Ranger fell, another would take his place. When one rope was cut, a Ranger would grab another and begin his climb again.
And inch by inch, foot by foot, yard by yard, the Rangers literally clawed their way up this mighty precipice until at last they reached the top.
Soon, one by one, the Rangers pulled themselves over the top.
They breached Hitler's Atlantic Wall, and they turned in that one effort the tide of the war that began to save the world.
And there he is. Good old Joe. Good old fairy tale Joe, using a speech given by Ronald Reagan in 1984. Some mainstream media outlets will say that speech helped Reagan get reelected, and they wonder if it will help Biden get reelected. Anybody who sees it and reviews it and goes back and just watches the entire thing will know Joe Biden, once again, is using the speech of another world leader. He does this because he doesn't really know what he's saying. He's doing what his staff is telling him to do. They put it up on the prompter. He reads it, but everyone is okay with it. Everyone is okay with the embellishments of Joe Biden throughout his entire political career, from the Senate to the vice presidency to the presidency. He's been using speeches from other people his whole life. They're fairy tales. He lies. He outright lies. And then he wants us to believe that he's telling the truth. And again, his favorite thing to say is, that's not hyperbole. No joke. Well, yeah, Joe, it is a joke, because you continue to use other people's speeches for your own gain. Well, I'm hoping, and I'm sure you're hoping, that he gains nothing from now until November, that he loses the little bit of support that he has left from now until November, because this man is an outright liar. He has one of the best liars on his staff in Cringe Jean-Pierre, and that's all these people do. It's quite obvious that Jill Biden calls the shots in that White House. Dr. Jill. Joe doesn't know what's going on. Joe's old. He's frail. He has dementia. Jill Biden is telling him what to do, where to go, and when to go. Because she, for some reason, needs to keep pushing that old, frail man out there so she can remain relevant for some reason, when quite frankly, no one gives two shits about Dr. Jill Biden. Well, maybe the asshats on The View love Jill Biden because she's a doctor. If you remember, Whoopi Goldberg said she could be the Surgeon General, but Joe probably wouldn't appoint her because she's his wife. The Surgeon General, she has a PhD in English, so that tells you how smart Whoopi Goldberg is. But enough of that. I wanted to bring that to your attention and show you that this man is just an outright failure. Has done nothing his entire political career but lie. This country is failing under the failing leadership of this man, and something needs to give. Goodbye, Joe. Go off to one of your summer homes, sit in a rocking chair and crochet or something, because you're fried, you're done. You do not deserve one more minute in that White House. And hopefully in November, people will wake up and realize the truth.